Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Tristan Steckler, and I've closed a little over $7 million in high-ticket sales over the last 3 years. What I'm going to be going over is actually a call review that I did for a closer of mine that's on a YouTube automation offer. One thing that the closer struggled heavily with on this call is being way too salesy, having conversations around why do you want to do YouTube automation? Why do you want to make a change right now? Questions like that without building any real trust, number one, but also not building enough equity in the conversation to where he could challenge the prospect in the first place. So the conversation really didn't end up going anywhere. And what I'm going to be teaching you is how to have the right conversations, how to ask the right questions to be able to build authority and trust in the conversation where you get leverage to actually overcome the person you're talking to. So don't be the guy who just watches the video and starts and stops. Lock in, take notes, and I hope this video serves you.
Okay, can you see me now?
I can. You see me?
Yeah, I can see. I'm just still working. That's all.
Okay, awesome. Still got 35 minutes for the call?
Yeah, I have.
Honest question. Were you agitated about something before the call started?
Maybe. I wasn't certainly giving off a warm and fuzzy vibe, but I think it's kind of, yeah, I think it was kind of like, I might be overcorrecting a bit because you clapped me pretty hard for being too buddy-buddy, and I might have been overcorrecting to this, and so I kind of more defaulted to kind of I'm struggling to get a happy medium.
Sure. No, this is good. This is a good coaching moment. Don't be stern. Be relaxed.
Okay?
So try and keep it neutral. One thing, this is a phrase that I learned from Chris Voss, if you've ever heard that name before.
Yeah. Yeah.
For those of you guys who don't know who Chris Voss is, he has a book called Never Split the Difference. And essentially, he was a New York City homicide detective where he would call terrorists or threats that had hostages, and he would negotiate with them to avoid fatalities. So it's like the highest level of sales pressure and resistance and frustration, right? So anyway, he has this phrase that he uses to describe his speaking voice. The way he describes it, he calls it the late night DJ voice. And so when I heard that, I started using it on my calls, and it's not creating a character. That's not what I'm trying to do. And I'm not trying to make you someone that you're not, but it's just bringing your tone down to more neutral, relaxed, where when I open a call, I'm like, hey, dude, how's it going? Like, I'm a human being. I want to build some kind of relationship with you where you open up. And if the person feels like you don't care, or you're just the next appointment, right? Or you have somewhere else you'd rather be, or you're looking down at them, the likelihood of them trusting you and opening up is going to be low. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, gotcha.
Roughly about.
But I do appreciate you taking feedback and trying to implement the best that you can. That's excellent.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Okay, so let's get going. So perfect. These calls are essentially just to see if we can help you. So there are a lot of people that come into our system that we can't help, unfortunately, but we also have a lot of people that come in that we can help. So we just want to make sure we're sorting properly in that. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Okay. So for just the general purpose of what we're going to be talking about,
I'll write out the scripting for you. A line that I would use to help this make sense to them because they don't know what to expect coming into the call is, so iPhone or whatever his name is.
Kevin, sorry.
What I've seen works best on calls like these is for starters, that phrase. So what I've seen works best on calls like these is just for starters, man. I want to get to know you and your situation, like what your goals are, where you're trying to go, ultimately to see if our team can come in and fill that gap quicker than you could on your own. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of like phrasing of it, it's like a more nonchalant, but it also gives them the context of why you're saying what you're saying. The last thing that I want to happen is him to be confused where we're going.
Yeah. We're going to be essentially digging into what your ultimate goal with YouTube automation is. I just talked to Gianna before I got on, so I know you guys spoke. And so we're going to be getting into really what you want to end up doing with YouTube automation and really essentially how we can help you get there if we can. What's holding you back? What can we help get out of the way for you? What can we help you with? Does that sound cool?
Yep.
Okay.
Where is he looking at? You see how his face is, he's like looking off screen.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So the line that I would give him here is, do you need to take care of something real quick? Do you
Yeah.
need to step away for a second? And that's going to point his focus on me. And it's like, are we good for the call?
Yeah.
Do you have undivided attention for the call? Cool. Yeah, so it's usually going to be around 45, 60 minutes. Does that time still work for you? The last thing that I would want is to not discipline that behavior and it just continues the whole call.
Yeah, I think that was why, and you'll see this if we get to that later in terms of like, I've tried this, and like, we need to focus here, get on the line and whatever. So I definitely could have called it earlier, but I think I kind of came full circle a little bit further on.
All good. Only other thing that I'd say, when someone gets on a call on an iPhone, their Zoom batteries, the Zoom's going to crush the battery. So the line that I would use with somebody on a phone is, hey, I noticed that you're on your phone. Zoom tends to eat up battery life. So can you plug that phone in for me? I'll wait here. That saved me so much money because in the beginning, people would just drop off during payment because their phone died and then they're
Yeah.
gone forever. So use that, learn from me. It's a very costly mistake. And every single time they get on their phone, just make sure they plug it in.
Cool. So let's start very broad. What is the biggest goal that you're looking to achieve from doing YouTube automation? Usually it's either money.
I wouldn't say very broad because I want answers. If
Yeah.
they're too broad, then I'm just going to have to ask more questions. So a question that you could ask is, what's the biggest reason you're looking at potentially getting into YouTube automation right now? What's the biggest reason you're potentially looking at getting into YouTube automation right now? That's a question you could ask. But realize every word that comes out of our mouth is either going to push the sale forward or it's going to push it away from being a sale. So if you don't want to have to constantly dig on things, then don't say, let's start super broad.
Money, time, free, or money, time, freedom, or some combination of the three.
Combination.
Of what?
Money, time, freedom. It's having time, right? Because I do insurance on the side, and I wanted something to where I can make residual income. Don't get me wrong, I can with insurance, but the way I have to do it, I think with YouTube automation, it's a bit simpler to.
So in my head, he's saying he does insurance on the side of what exactly? Is that of a full-time job? So just the more context that you can have here, the better.
Get that done. So that's why I wanted to tap in to see like what's the cost. I already know what I really want to do. I just want.
How much context do you have to the leads prior to you getting on a call with them?
Very basic, just like, credit score, amount they want to spend, where they're coming from. Nothing. And usually we have like a triage session. So our setters would call them and they'd put a little blurb in terms of our Slack channel. So I have some additional context. And, like I said, the woman I mentioned earlier, she's on our team and basically got caught up with her. So with this guy, a little bit more context and just like a webinar booking, but some, but not a ton.
I'd be curious to see what the conversation looks like for the triage set. But as an example, every single day I would wake up and I would have like 7 or 8 leads on my calendar. Some would be follow-ups, some would be new calls. But we had a CRM called Trello where I got to see every single lead, their application, but then I also got to see the screenshots from the conversation on Instagram. And then I would also see any notes from triage calls. And I was just obsessed with knowing everything about the person before the call even started. So I would go and look at their Instagram. Like I'd be seeing their interests and things like that. I'm not saying be like a stalker, but I am saying like you want to know this person better than they know themselves. And there's a lot of potential to read into what the potential objections would be on the call before it even starts.
Yeah.
So the more context you can have, the better. And I would definitely be asking the setters for as much context as you possibly can have before the call starts.
Yep.
And in the morning, if you have like a pre-call routine, what mine looked like is I would look through every single lead and I would take notes. This is their job. This is their goal. This is how long it's been their goal for. This is what they've tried. Like I'd get as much on paper as possible so that during the call I could just reference things. If they didn't bring it into the conversation, I would just bring it into the conversation and just dig on things.
Yep. Gotcha.
Just want to know like how much is it going to cost to really get that going.
Why do you really want to do it? You could be doing a million things to make money online. You could be doing day trading. And
I don't want to do day trading. Like I mean, I've looked into it. I bought courses.
Like, more like I just want to make a point in terms of you could be doing a million things to make money online. Why YouTube automation specifically? That's really important.
You see the combativeness in the beginning where it's like, no, you don't talk, I talk. Almost is like how he could feel. So it's just continuing to get some context and don't raise your voice, right? Just continue to ask questions with the same tone because the last thing that I want to do is get him defensive 3 minutes into the call.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like the niche that I have in mind, because I play soccer and
Yep.
I watch.
Okay, let me go back a little bit. I want to see where I could do better here.
One more, like I just want to make a point in terms of you could be doing a million things to make money online. Why YouTube automation specifically? That's really important.
So, big thing. He doesn't know. So, what I tell people who sell a make money online offer is we are not here to sell the vehicle. We're here to sell the outcome. So I don't want to talk about what's your niche going to be, how much content have you posted so far, what results are you seeing with the content you're posting. Like none of that stuff moves the needle. If anything, it just adds more doubt that the person is going to get there. You're just going to add overwhelm. So I want to simplify things and I want to sell the outcome. So for this guy, what we would want to do, Sam, and as I like get closer and closer to your team, we want to build a process that's focused around this guy's current circumstance, meaning what does he do for work full time? He said he had something on the side with insurance. Just get the context, right? How much money are you making doing what you're doing? What's your goal? You want to make $10,000 a month? Why? Is it so that you can leave the job? Yes. What has you wanting to leave the job? Right? That that conversation matters way more than
Yeah.
what type of content have you posted and why YouTube automation. He doesn't know that yet. He's on the call to get insight from you, and he's going to pay you if you're able to twist the knife with him where he recognizes that his current circumstance, he doesn't want to be in it a second longer. That's where he's going to pay. And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, like he could have several calls scheduled out with different companies, different niches, Amazon, e-commerce, whatever. He's going to go with you based on the interaction that you have with him. So just keep that in mind.
Yep.
Okay. But also from there, the question that we're also going to want to ask later on in the process is, let's say his goal is he wants to make $10,000 a month. He's had that goal for 2 years. What has he specifically looked at over the last 2 years to put himself in a position where he can make $10,000 a month online? And that's not just with YouTube automation.
Mhm.
I mean, in
Right.
general, what have you actually tried? Okay, so that would be my main focus in the beginning of the call. Once I get all the answers that I need, then we'll be building and twisting urgency in future pace and consequence.
Yep.
Um,
Good job, though.
Thank you.
I feel like the niche that I have in mind, because I play soccer and
Yep.
I watch a lot of soccer videos, and I look at the views and I see that there's a lot of views into it, but I didn't know as far as the money, the money side of it, I didn't really realize like, yo, you can make good money from it. You could just let your channel just stay on YouTube and it's just gonna keep on getting views. You make money from it every month. And soccer, I love soccer, so it would be dope for me to create some videos type shit and post it on YouTube. I know World Cup is coming around next year.
Yep.
There's gonna be a lot of content to create from that. Also, Champions League happens. Football is all year round, so and it's a big sport. So I was like, you know, that.
Yeah.
So it's great that he's passionate about soccer, but just remember, most of these guys from cold ads are going to be like, I don't even know what I want to create content on. And if
Well,
you,
additional context. He bought from like a mini course from David in the past, and he actually has tried this a couple times, so it's not totally cold. Just want to put that out there too.
love it. That's great. The reason I bring it up is because some of these people, it can easily frustrate you if they don't give you the right answers to that type of question.
Yeah.
Because he could easily say, like, I have no idea. Like, tell me what you do already. And that's
Yeah.
where we'll panic because we're just putting him in a position that he doesn't even need to be in yet. We just need to get an understanding of what's the goal, where is he at right now, how long has that been the goal for, and what has he actually tried to get to the goal.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yep.
But I'm glad to hear that David has those resources for these guys. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That would be probably fun doing that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So
'Cause
it's a combination of something you love and something that you can make you money.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's what we're all looking for at the end of the day. Something we're passionate about that we can make money doing. That's every single person on this call. So just realize it's like with these people, if I can just get them to a position in their mind where they recognize they can trust me, I've been in their shoes, I know exactly what they need to do step by step to get them what they want, they're paying every time.
Yep.
And if they don't have the money to do it right now, they're going to do it later because I'm going to instill so much resourcefulness into the person that they have to make it happen. Or they're going to quit on themselves. Those
Yeah.
are the only two outcomes.
Cool. So in terms of what's actually preventing you from going ahead and doing YouTube automation? Because a lot of people say like, oh, like I have to make this change, I have to do this, I have to do whatever. You don't have to do anything. You can sit back and say like, oh, I guess.
Okay, so dude, we'll tweak this. I'm gonna make this flow way more organic for you to where it, because like you're really pressuring him to like tell you, dude, I'm all in on YouTube automation. And here's why. But he's not there yet. So the better conversation, I'll give you the scripting for it, is gonna be around why are we trying to get away from the job? What is it about the job that you're not happy with?
Yep.
Right? What about your job is bothering you, et cetera? That's going to build all the urgency where he's like, I got to get out of here. Why haven't I done more? It's been going on so long. And then I'm like, well, dude, where are we trying to go? 10K a month? Okay. How long has that been the goal for? 2 years? Okay. So what have we specifically looked at over the last 2 years so that we can get the skills that we need to make the money we want to make and actually get away from this job? That's it.
Let other people make soccer highlight clips or something else. I don't know what team you're supporting of, but in terms of getting all that stuff done, you don't have to really go and make a change. But why I would say or ask, excuse me, why do you want to make a change? Why do you want to do this for yourself?
Because I think I've explained this in the past. I know I'm stopping and starting a lot. That question, why now, is an amazing question if it has the right irrefutable evidence from the person's mouth that change needs to happen. So when we think about these questions, why now is a great question. But if I took that question and I wrapped it around a brick and I stepped out of the first floor of a hotel and I dropped the brick on the car, it's going to do a little bit of damage, right? Because it's a brick. But if I go up to the 100th floor and drop the same brick, it's going to do way more damage. So these questions, if we're able to layer them correctly, get the right leverage and urgency from the person, that question will land organically. If you ask it too early, it's not going to land and they're going to push back on it, or they're going to give you ego, or they're going to give you a BS answer. So just be aware that these questions need to be asked in the right sections.
Yeah, I think I told you, I think a little bit like last week or something, the frame is like incredibly clunky right now. So it's definitely not as like artful as it can be. I'm working on kind of stringing that together myself right now. So it's just kind of very, very basic and rudimentary at this point. So that's my bad.
We can work on that together. I'll get with you privately on that.
Okay.
I want to be able to have residual income. I mean, I can.
The thing that I look at whenever I open up a call is look at these gaps. You see how there's a big gap coming where this iPhone is just talking for a minute straight and then another minute, or et cetera, et cetera. We want to get it to where, like as an example with Itai's calls, when I pull up one of these calls and you look at the cuts, there's a tremendous amount of back and forth, right? Like look at those cuts. Back, 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 back. If I pull up this one, ton of back and forth, ton of back and forth. Like the best of the best, like cuts. Because there's so much back and forth that's happening. There's so many questions that are being asked at such a rapid rate. And it's all for a reason, right? Like when I say everything that comes out of our mouth gets us closer or further away from the sale, everything that comes out of your mouth is to reframe the person that you're talking to and shift their identity to becoming the person that they actually want to be, which is not the person that they are right now. So the better we can get it asking the right questions in the right moments, the more leverage we're going to have to stack irrefutable evidence against them that they need to do things differently going forward to get to the outcome that they want to get to.
Can I ask a question on that real quick?
Totally.
So in terms of like the thing, it's kind of like making me insecure actually on calls and I'm watching it, like the amount of like talk time that Fathom gives you in terms of saying everything. What should that ideal split look like in your view? Should it be like 50-50 in terms of them talking, you talking, or what matters more is like the distribution of it, like you said earlier on?
Yeah, I'd say usually it's like 65 me,
Okay.
35 the other person.
That's good to know. Okay.
Yeah, because the better that you get at asking the right question and knowing why you're asking it, the less talk time the person's going to have. Because the second they answer it, you're just going to cut them off and redirect them back into another question.
Yeah. Okay.
Anthony, do you have a question?
I just wanted to add one thing. You can hide that because I hate seeing that thing. Like you can just minimize that. It's not going to close out Fathom or anything. So you don't have to see that.
Okay. Thank you. That's helpful.
I can do it, as I said, I can do it in insurance, but it's more, and it's not like I'm running from the work, but I'm not passionate about insurance, right? So I do it to pay the bills.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. So he wants to be doing something full time that he loves. Like that whole cliche, like if your job isn't something that you love, you're never gonna feel like you work a day in your life. Which is very true, dude. Like if I had to work 9 to 5 at Burger King, like I would lock in on my computer after hours and do this. I'm not kidding. Because it's that enjoyable for me. And for these people, like he needs to be put in a position where he believes that that life is possible because he doesn't believe it yet. If he believed it, then he would have done something sooner.
So eventually,
So that's why I say, like, he's not having a call with David. He's seen David's content and has been intrigued or inspired, but he's buying you. He's paying to be like you. They're buying into your leadership. They're buying into your story. They're buying into your accountability. They're buying into your confidence, right? All these things are vitally important. That's why I say, like, the closers who are constantly investing in their skill set, they're leaning into discomfort, they're not taking shortcuts in their own life. They're the best of the best because they sell on congruency. Okay.
Yep.
That's why the CEOs can get away with things that the sales reps can't. The CEO will get on a call and not even follow a framework and close multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in sales just because they've already seen all your content. They already trust you, right? But for us as salespeople, we don't have that luxury. That's why we have to be excellent in the details.
like I'm really doing it to where I can use it as a bank to do what I love.
Yeah,
So
and also, but on the other hand, like YouTube automation, learning that from the ground up, that's a lot of work too, right?
no, that is true. So
Yeah.
it's like, fuck, like I don't want to be all over the place that thing. Because I'm doing insurance, and when you're trying to find that right thing to do. So I be trying everything. I tried trading, I tried Amazon, I tried pretty much.
Okay. When he says tried, what does that mean? Does that mean that he has invested into advanced mentorships, thousands of dollars, and gotten advanced training and coaching, right? And it failed? Or does it mean he's done a bunch of research on the internet and he threw stuff at the wall and like duct taped it together and it didn't work? So always be listening. When they say, I tried, but it didn't work, I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Red light. The whole scripting, put that to the side. If I can't overcome this, the whole rest of the call doesn't matter. Because what he's going to say is, this sounds like something I've already done that did not work, aka I've been burned in the past. The more context that you get, the more this like house of cards that he's standing on will diminish. The house of lies that he's standing on will diminish. And now it's just person to person, and you're just overcoming him, not all these external logistics.
And now
Because the second he says that, you see this big gap of words, Sam. So the second he says, I tried it, I'm like, hold on. When you said you tried it, like, give me the context. Did you start a business, or was it research? Did you invest into a mentorship program, or was it just research? Like, help me understand what you mean when you say you tried it. And what were the results? How much money did you make trying it? You follow?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, I want to affirm Sam in the way that he's taking the feedback. I've given him a lot in the first 20 minutes of this, but I'll tell you this, the humble approach of taking the feedback, yes, sir, makes sense, taking notes, paying attention, you'd be shocked the amount of closers who can't do that one simple thing. The amount of times I hear cocky reps tell me, yeah, just wait a second, dude, I'm about to do that. I did that. It pisses me off more than anything. And then we'll watch the call and they didn't do what I'm talking about doing. They just have an ego. So I appreciate that. And it's going to serve you. It's going to make you top 1% if you can take the feedback that I'm giving and implement it in your calls.
Yeah.
I
Thank
was
you,
like,
man.
before I made the call with you, I have a one-on-one coaching with someone to help teach others to repair the credit. Because I did it kind of like myself, but there's still like little details of stuff that I need to learn when it comes to fixing someone's credit. So it's like, I spoke to my girlfriend before this call, and I'm like, babe, what do you think? Like, am I doing too much at once? And
Uh-oh, babe, what do you think? So just realize that could be an objection at the end of the call. Like, he's already having conversations. What do you think I should do? AKA, like, who's the leader in his own life? So he's giving you a lot of good stuff here. Like, these are all little mines that we're like walking over together. So red light is on, and I'm just going to start piercing on the things that he's telling me. Like, who's going to be running the business? Is that going to be you, or is that going to be her? Okay, so when you mentioned that you were asking her what she thinks, like, what was the rationale behind doing so, just so I can understand, right? Like, we can have those conversations.
Yeah.
she was like,
That sounds like a little bit all over the place from what I can tell.
yeah. So that's what she was saying. She's like, yeah, just slow down a little bit. Like,
Yeah, because the thing is that I would get at eventually is like, has she started a successful YouTube automation business? Is she a business owner? No. Right? So The reason I ask you that, man, is because I do thousands of these calls. And typically what I see from people is they tend to look for feedback and advice and guidance from people who are not actively living the life that they want to live. Right? I'll hear people say things like, well, I got to run this by my parents. I'm like, do your parents run a successful business? Have they created financial freedom for themselves? Yes or no? No. Okay. Well, hey, man, if I wanted to get a six pack, the last place that I would go is to McDonald's. I wouldn't go up to a guy who's 300 pounds and ask him what I should do, right? Because usually these people are just going to elicit doubt, uncertainty, fear. They're going to direct you off the path that you're trying to stand on.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, how has that way of thinking served us up until this point? What has that way of thinking cost us over the last 2 years where we've just been pushing decisions off on other people? This is what I call pre-handling objections. You do the upfront work, you break up the concrete upfront, you don't get the objections nearly at scale at the end of the call if you do the upfront work.
So it's like, but I still wanted, like, as far as detail, because I still want to do that, like, because I'm passionate about that. And
what is that?
Soccer for itself, and I want to create videos, right?
Yeah.
And I know that can bring in, good income every month, and I can also teach what I've learned to other people, right? Because I like to help people, and that's just one of the things where I was like, yo, I want to do this and make good money from it, and also teach people how to do it themselves. But
so let me ask you this then. So if you, like, let's just say, and if you were to commit to YouTube automation in terms of everything, like, would you, if you like kind of how the process unfolds when I explain how we can help people, would you be willing to commit to making that happen for yourself?
Okay, so just the biggest takeaway, aside from like all the like minute things that I've given you so far, is don't try and get them to commit 10 minutes into the call. The art of persuasion is asking the right questions to draw your prospect in to the conclusion themselves, right? Because if I spent the first 10 minutes talking about how much this guy hates his job, the fact that he's not paid enough, he's not passionate about it, he feels stressed, he's not making the money he wants to make, do you think it would be a lot easier for him to say yes to that type of question? Like, are you ready to actually put a line in the sand and commit to yourself? Much easier to answer that question at that point.
Yeah.
So let the script, like, trust the process that I've built, that the questions are going to do all the heavy lifting for you. You're not going to have to like brute force this guy into committing 7 minutes into the call. That will happen organically if you ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Right. That's what the sales call's for. It's not like we're in the DMs, like going back and forth, like, hey, dude, here's the invoice. You going to pay it or what? Like, that's what the whole interaction is for.
Yeah, it's, damn, bro. I don't like this feeling that I'm just,
because this guy's beta, so he's running with it. Like, he's letting you shove him in the locker, but you talk to you talk to the wrong personality type like this. This is where you get aggression, anger, combativeness, fighting, and it, dude, it zaps your energy. So I just want to prepare you to ask the right questions to where when you talk to an A, this doesn't happen. Because he would be like, hey, dude, just get to the point, man. We've been talking for 10 minutes. What are all these questions for? Just get into the price. You going to tell me what you do already? That's what you're going to get from these types of questions.
I don't tell them probably all over the damn place.
It's not fun. I've been there.
Bro, and I'm trying to just like, just pick something and just stick with that. And it's every time there's something else. So the thing is, all right, let me this. I do the insurance to where, okay, I can have the money to where I can give it to someone to build a channel for me and where I can start receiving. After I have my whole insurance thing on autopilot, I know, okay, I have time to now do this other thing, which is YouTube automation. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm trying to create the right, I guess, foundation for my insurance. And then I can take time away from that and now tap into the YouTube automation. So I guess for now, I wanted to see like, what's the price of someone building a channel for me to let it run for a bit.
So if you had someone build a channel for you, that's the main appeal of everything and running it for you.
Right now, until I have the time to where I can,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. So I needed to know what am I working with as far as to get somebody to do that for me.
Yeah. So in terms of the focus on,
you see how he's starting to get into like, can you tell me what you do already?
Yeah.
The only reason they do that is that they feel like the conversation that you're having with them isn't getting them closer to what they want. Think of it as like he views you as like you're in the way of him getting what he wants. Because as an example, if you got to sit down with like, I see your social media, like Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, if you got to sit down with them and have a conversation, at no point would you say, hey, buddy, cut to the chase.
That's
Hurry
right.
up. right? It's because you respect them. You value their time, right? So when we put ourselves in the category of a sales guy and we're like, dude, you sell me on why YouTube automation or why we should take you on as a client, you're just going to get a lot of sales resistance. The last thing I want someone to think is I'm in a sales process. The better you get at asking the right questions, people are going to start telling you, Sam, this was such a good call. Like at no point did I feel like I was getting sold. You ask really, really good questions. Okay. So just be aware of that.
Yeah.
On the
What
investment
is,
process.
sorry if I'm interrupting you guys. So I
Mhm.
think in terms of you saying that, like, there's also people that, you know, this happens to everybody, I'm sure at least some point, but like that get to the end of the call with you and they say like, hey, like, this is a great conversation. I really enjoyed it. Like, thanks, see ya. I'm not interested in buying. What do you think is the difference between those two types of people?
No urgency.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's the
Gotcha.
conversation they had with you just wasn't good enough. That's
Yeah.
it.
Cool. Everything. So is there a threshold in terms of everything that you're looking to say, like, what would be too much?
Yeah. Okay. So does it make sense why we're here right now? That's the
Yep.
most important thing. I'm not upset that you're here.
So hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you want to build a better process so that you can close more deals and make more money, definitely make sure to click the link in the description where you can see if you qualify and can apply for one-on-one coaching with yours truly. If not, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video and I'll see you in the next one.
I'm not disappointed that you're here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I
Just
I
wanna-
got you. Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is you understand why we've gotten here. Because like as an example, the questions that we should be asking, I'm just going to pull up like a BizOps script. Let me see if I have one for this e-com offer as an example. No, it's not on here. I'll do one of Shark's scripts. I'll just do mine. Sales process. Okay. So once we get the goal, it's like, what's the end goal you're looking to accomplish through YouTube automation? Is it more time, more money, more freedom? They tell us, right? Then we're going to move into what have they actually tried over the time frame, right? Okay, and overall the last 2 years, what have you actually been doing online to kind of put yourself in a position where you can make 10K per month and leave the full-time job? Like you mentioned, you want it. This is where I would want us to be, because this is where we get all the context. That way, he starts telling us information about, yeah, I started an Amazon business, or I looked into XYZ mentorship, and then I can get into results, right? How much money did you make doing it that way, right? What do you feel prevented you from actually getting to the outcome? Was it on the mentorship? Was it on a lack of skills, right? Once we get to like the lack of skills as being the issue and then being aware of that, it's like, well, what have you actually looked at to invest into the right skills so that you can make the money that you want to make? What have you looked at? Because the whole idea here is number one, I need to get them to realize that what they're doing in their own power is not enough to get them where they want to be. They don't have the knowledge, they don't have the skills. But the second thing through that conversation is getting them to a place where they recognize that in order to fill the gap where they are, where they want to be, they need to invest in themselves. But if I can get them there, then I'll also get limiting beliefs out where they'll tell me, like, the reason I haven't made the step, made the investment into myself is because I didn't have the time for it. Coaching is too expensive. I thought I could figure it out with the free stuff. I didn't know if I would be successful. Those limiting beliefs are going to show up at the end of the call in the form of, hey, I don't see the value in this. Hey, this is more than I thought it was going to be. I need to think about it. I need to pray about it. I don't make decisions on the spot. So in that moment, when you get that out and you overcome that, you're preventing it from showing up at the end of the call.
Yep.
So there are ways to handle that. When they say the reason I haven't made an investment into coaching is because coaching is too expensive, I'm going to reframe that. Are you open to a change in perspective? Yes. Have you ever heard of Tony Robbins? Most people are going to say yes. Well, he's a billionaire at this point. All he does is reframe limiting beliefs because everyone has a limiting belief standing in the way of them becoming the person they want to become. Okay? He has this quote that I really love. The way that it goes is the human being's biggest superpower is their ability to become resourceful. But what most humans do is they use the superpower to find excuses. as to why they don't need to become resourceful. Because there's always going to be two types of people in this situation. The first person who says, I can't invest into coaching because it's too expensive. They do nothing. Then the second person who says, although I can't afford it, how can I become resourceful enough to get it? Because I know that if I get the skill, I'm going to create the freedom that I've been wanting to create for the last 2 years. Out of those two people, who gets to their goal faster? Second person. Well, with being how important this has been for you, the frustration, the stress you've been feeling in your job, the lack of fulfillment, what's prevented you from becoming resourceful to get the money so that you can build the skills and the freedom that you want to build? What's actually preventing you from doing that? Thought I could figure it out. I thought the free stuff was enough. Well, hey, that's like a Cinderella story, right? I just look at all the free stuff on the internet and all of a sudden money just comes out. How much does that belief actually cost us, thinking that way? It's cost me time. It's cost me money. Well, how much money, dude? Let's just do the math. 2 years? Let's say on the lower end, you started a business 2 years ago that was making you $5,000 a month. What is 5,000 times 12? 60 grand? Times 2? $120,000? Right? A really banger question. The version of you that you want to become, what beliefs and actions does he have or do that you don't currently have or do right now? AKA, what's preventing you from becoming that guy? What beliefs do we need to let go of so that you can confidently step into becoming that guy? Right? Because people will overcomplicate it. I know we have fitness coaches on the call. You want to be in shape? Be the in shape guy. Make decisions the way the in shape guy makes decisions. The first sales call that I was ever on, the guy was garbage. The sales guy was terrible. He had no idea what he was doing. He just read a script, top to bottom. Didn't challenge me on a thing. Didn't overcome fears or limiting beliefs. If I would have told that guy, hey, buddy, this sounds good, I need to think about it, no way in hell that guy would have closed me. No way. And I'd be the guy who probably would have went and got a job at a restaurant or a bar and just made it work. Figured it out. I'm 22. I'll just figure it out. Could you imagine if I didn't get on the call and say, I don't give a rip what the price is. I hope they let me in. I'm willing to pay whatever it costs. I'm going to do everything in my power to become the guy that I want to be. That's why it's so vitally important for us to master these skills. If I would have given any objections, I wouldn't be sitting right here right now. But I went all in on myself. And it was hard. And I wanted to quit. And I wanted to give up. And everybody was making fun of me and taking screenshots of the stories I was posting and making fun of me to my face behind my back. No one believed in me. My parents didn't believe in me. My brother called me an idiot after I told him I made the investment, all the money in my account. It was hard. But the reason I would never let someone cut a corner, there's no payment plans. We're not getting you in 1K down. I'm not following up on the rest of the money, is because I understand how vitally important it is to go all in on yourself. And in that situation, when push comes to shove and your back's against the wall, I'm going to choose the path of becoming effing resourceful every single time. And that's why I'm in the position that I'm in. Right? So in calls, when we're having this back and forth, I'm going to utilize that story. I'm going to help the person understand that I'm not putting this burden on you, telling you need to take out a loan, etc., because I want your money. I'm telling you that if you don't get in the habit of becoming resourceful and leaning into discomfort and taking risks, you will never become the guy that you're talking about becoming. And I would feel that I was negligent in my role as an advisor if my head hit the pillow and I didn't do everything in my power to get you in. Does everyone understand that? That's our job. We're not here to take the inbound calls and whoever has the money will just process their credit card and close at 20%. That's not what we're here to do. They get on my calendar. They want to make money and create freedom. They're getting into a fight with me on the call. And it's not going to be rude. It's not going to be demeaning. It's not going to be manipulative. It's going to be honest. And I'm going to do everything in my power to get them where they want to be, regardless of how uncomfortable that is. And if that takes me needing to do objection handling for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it takes, I'm in. Because I committed to that. Okay? Got to have the right mindset for this stuff. The mindset that I would want you to have is, I'm not taking no as an answer. I refuse. I ain't quitting. You can quit. I'm not quitting. And don't just say it. Don't just have a word track that you're using. Believe it. Because everyone on the call right now who hears me talk believes what I'm saying. I can't fool you. I'm not lying. I am who I say I am. But that's why I get the results that I do. Cool?
Cool.
This is the most time I've spent in 10 minutes on a call.
I was about to say, I'm so sorry about this.
No, dude, it's good. I hope you're learning. I hope everybody's learning.
Because I think if I could challenge you on that perspective, it's like, it's kind of like the rich people, poor people mindset in terms of like how they look at investment versus something. It's like some people look at like, how much does this cost? And then the wealthy people in our society, which, I think you're trying to get into, that's why you're trying all these things and kind of spreading your focus a bit thin. When they go and focus on something and they say, it's not, well, how much, will this cost now? How much will this give me over time? You're not fighting a single thing, you're fighting a time horizon. And so what I can say is that I don't know how long you've been following David. I want to ask you that question next, but David's been at this for a long time.
Okay. Very important. Never say my next question is, or I want to ask you this question next. Because imagine you and I went and got coffee. Would you ever say that to me? No. No one would. But it's just when we put on this hat of like, I am a sales guy, he's on my calendar to do a sales call and we're going to close him and make money. That's where you come off very robotic. But when people are talking to me on my calls, if someone were to review a sales call of mine, they'd be like, that didn't seem like a sales call. Because I'm just getting into the limiting beliefs as quickly as I can. I'm like, hey, dude, you've seen the content. You know who I am. You know I can help. You've seen the results. What's in the way of you starting? Let's just start there. What's actually coming up? And I can do that because I'm the damn business owner. You can't do that. You got to follow the frame. You got to set the agenda. You got to ask the right questions. Your calls are going to be longer than mine. That's just how it is.
Time, you look at his Instagram, you look at his life, it's pretty good. And so that was because David decided to focus and lean into that one thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I've been on this channel for over 2 years. It's really, because if I know I don't have a lot of capital to work with right now, right? Yeah. And there's still other little things outside of.
I can't afford it. Okay, so you got it out. This is good. It's really good. To get him to say that is very important because now it's like, okay, now it's time to play ball. So he's throwing the objection out that he's going to tell you at the end. What are you going to do about it?
Out of investing in what I need to do, that I need to put money aside for. So
because what people don't realize is like, dude, what the hell are we even investing into YouTube automation for? To make money. So we can't use money as an excuse to not make more money. That doesn't make any sense. It's all about how you look at it. Because in this situation, there are two guys. You could be either one. That's the cool thing. You get to choose who you want to be. The first person says, I can't afford it, so I'm not going to do anything. Where has that gotten us? Broke, no passion or fulfillment in our job, no direction, no idea what to do next. That's one life that you can willingly choose to live. The other person says, although I can't afford it, based on my decisions, I'm going to take that ownership on. How can I become resourceful enough to get the money so that I can build the skills that I'm currently deficient in so that I can create the freedom I want to create? Who's getting there, brother? You or the other guy? The other guy. Why? Right? So the better we can get at going toe to toe in these conversations and talking about the real stuff, not talking about why YouTube automation, what kind of results have you seen with the content and stuff like that. This is where we move the needle, these conversations.
If I can know what number I'm working with, I know I get paid every 2 weeks, and also every month on residuals on the insurance that I'm doing, right? I'm just trying to scale. So if I can understand, okay, this is what it's going to cost to start that going, to get that going, I know, okay, I can put that aside for that. In the meantime, every time I get something, I put it aside for it. And once I have it, I can call and say, Sam, here it is right here. I want to get that going.
Well, and the big thing, and the reason why I wanted to ask about that is that I think price needs to come after value. Like I said, this call is strictly to see if I can help you, and if you believe that what we can help you grow would be worth your time and worth your investment, worth your money. So that's why I want to kind of maybe just say, like, I want to make sure that we can help first and foremost before we really get into everything else. So the last thing I will say, I know you've tried, or I want to ask, is that so you've been actually there's two things. The first thing, you've been in, you said David's ecosystem, you've known about him and his work for like 2 years. Is that what you said? Okay, so why get on why not 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 1 year ago?
You see his body language? He's like, yep. Uh-huh. Is he open or closed off right now?
Very closed.
Okay. Just realize he won't be like that with the proper conversation. So that's a good thing.
But I did that. This is not my first. All right. So the first time.
Because now he's getting into defense mode. It's like, no, you don't see the full picture. You're demeaning my worth. You're saying I haven't done enough. That's not true. Ego, which is fine. It's good to have ego, right? But the whole idea is you don't have enough context from him to be able to beat him over the head with a mindset stick yet. And that just comes with asking the right questions.
I came across it. I paid for his, I think it was like a program or a course, and I believe it was like 5 something.
Okay.
Right? And I was like, okay, yeah. So I paid for that. And while I'm at work, because I have 2 screens. So I'm in the office, one screen with the whole course showing me everything. You know what I'm saying? You want to have a TikTok, you try to go viral with the TikTok, the same people from the TikTok, you try to funnel them over to the YouTube to build a YouTube channel. So I was, trying to get more information and learning more about the space. And bro, I just stopped. Like I spent all that money and then it just went down the drain.
Why did you stop?
Because there's other factors of stuff that was going on in my life, and I just lost focus. You know what I mean? Like I ended up getting evicted and just stuff that happens in my life, and I stopped and was just focusing on insurance.
Yeah.
Huh?
You lost all the momentum essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and it's so that's just what that was.
And that's something that's
so
I really that's the thing we gotta pay attention to, man, because it's like, even though it is passive income and setting something up, it's like if we don't take the responsibility for getting things set up, it's like none of this, no matter what you try, whether you try trading, whether you try YouTube automation, dropshipping, etc., that's not gonna change the outcome, right? And so I think that it's all about kind of undergoing that, reflection process of like, I gotta get simple here, I gotta really focus here, I gotta really get into stuff. Even if we're helping you throughout this whole process, that's something that I think needs to be apparent on both sides.
True.
Yeah.
It's one thing I can say I did stick to is insurance because
it sounds like it. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing I can say I stick with.
Yeah.
So, and I'm reaping the benefits of it, but at the same time, I still want to have other streams of income.
Right. Exactly. So in terms of, you've already said you have,
the thing that you can collapse with that whole insurance thing is like getting him to tell you what he hates about his job. When he says, I hate my job, I'm not fulfilled, I'm not making good money, etc., he can't say, well, dude, I've been consistent with insurance. It's like, imagine a guy came to you and he's like, yeah, dude, my girlfriend, I can't stand her. She cheats on me constantly. She doesn't listen to anything that I say, blah, 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 blah. But then he's like, dude, I'm committed to her, man. Right? It wouldn't make any sense. It's like, why are you telling me that? Statements are incongruent. So it's like, what does it matter how committed you've been to your job if your job is not serving you and it's not what you want for yourself? What does it matter? What are you trying to prove to me, that you're loyal? You're loyal in the wrong areas, man. Doesn't matter. What's prevented you from being loyal in the right areas, knowing that if you commit to the time, the energy, the skill set development required, you'd actually create the freedom you want to create? Let's have that conversation.
You bought into something that David said.
Because that's where we're going to get into fear, right? Like, what if I join the program and it doesn't work? Hey, dude, walk me through a situation in the past where the step you were taking was guaranteed to work out the way you wanted it to. 0 times. Never happened. Ever. You married? No. You want to get married? Yes. How can you guarantee that the woman that you propose to is actually going to be a great wife? Can't guarantee that. Can you guarantee that by setting up an LLC that you're going to have financial freedom in your business? No. Can you guarantee that by signing up for a gym membership, you're going to get a 6-pack? No. What does it depend on? What makes a difference between someone who's successful versus unsuccessful. Choices, decisions, commitments, beliefs, actions. That's what makes a difference. So do you want to be the guy who constantly sits around and waits for a guaranteed result? A guaranteed way of doing things that are going to get you where you want to be? Or do you want to be the guy who becomes the guarantee for himself, like what I did 4 years ago, that said, hey, I'm spending this $6,000, even though it's not guaranteed, and I'm going to work my ass off and do everything they tell me to do, and I will not quit until I'm successful. Who's getting there? You or me? Does that make sense, Sam?
Yeah, 100%.
So we're confronting a current identity. They don't think the way they should think. They don't act the way they should act. If they did, they would not be on a call with you. They'd be the next Jeff Bezos, right? So with that in mind, we have to understand that. We can't be upset at them for thinking the way that they think. In fact, serving them is being patient enough to ask these questions, even if you don't get the right answer up front.
Yeah, sure.
That's serving the person.
Mhm.
Because the whole goal is like, at a mastermind, as an example, I get to high five people, I get to hug people, I get to take photos because they did the work and they got to the top of the mountain. Then we can celebrate. Right? But on the call, I'm not here to be your buddy. I'm not here to be your friend. We're not here to talk about the weather. We're not here to talk about BS. I'm here to get to the root reason as to why you haven't taken the step yet. That's all that I'm here to do. And then I'm here to hold you accountable to doing everything in your power to become the person we're talking about you becoming. That's it. And as long as you can confidently say you've done everything in your power, then you can rest easy at night. And the money will follow that.
Said like course or something that you offered, in the past. And so, in terms of YouTube automation specifically, have you joined any other masterminds? Have you tried? Like, what have you tried essentially? Because besides the course, if anything.
Another thing that I tried was credit, the whole credit repair and credit funding for business and stuff. Because I have the insurance stuff going on. I have my business account that I had for over 3 years. So, but my personal credit wasn't good. So I was like, yo, credit is everything. Without credit, I can't really do much. So I fixed my credit. Now I'm in the process of building it, and I paid for courses to fix it. I paid someone to fix it, and now I have a one-on-one coaching with someone tomorrow that I had to pay for like $600 to do a one-on-one to where I can help people fix their credit. So I have people around me that their credit is bad. I'm in the inner city, so majority of us doesn't have good credit. So I realized, okay, I could probably start from there, build a little community, and then so it's like, man, it's
That's another thing. That's another ball you're juggling, though. You know what I mean?
Huh?
That's another ball you're juggling, though. You know what I mean? Yeah.
oh, I know.
Hey, dude, with everything you have going on, what has you looking into YouTube automation? Why are you on this call? What is it that is or isn't working with what you're doing right now that's preventing you from getting the freedom that you want? AKA, why are you not there yet with what you've tried? Tried a lot of different things, man. What's in the way?
No, I just want all this different streams of income and also be able to help people.
Broke people talk about streams of income. It's true, dude.
No, that's why, like, it's honestly like one of the biggest frustrations I have with just, and maybe frustrations is the wrong word, is like, it's only like, and this might sound crass, but it's only like broke, lazy people that want to talk about like doing nothing to make money. Like it's kind of it's a common trend with like almost everyone that I get to. It's like, oh, I'm broke, I don't work hard, and I expect to, just get a ton of money from doing something. And I just want to like scream through the screen. It's like, that ain't how this shit works, dude. Like, this is not how this works at all. But I can't do that, so I can phrase it more tactfully, but it's 100% like the majority of the people that come on these calls with everybody.
It's okay to be frustrated with their mindset. However, I was that guy. You've been that guy. We've all been that guy.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is meeting them where they're at. Because the truth is, if he thought the way he was supposed to think and he had taken actions that were congruent with his goals, he wouldn't be on a call with you in the first place. It's like a doctor getting pissed off at a sick patient for being sick.
Yeah.
It's like that's what they're coming to you for in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's why I was just trying to see what works. I'm trying everything and see what would be the best fit.
Yeah. So eventually you just got to pick, right? Like you can't have multiple streams of income, that have 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then whatever. And so you got to just take one and build it. And I think that if you're genuinely believing that, David's stuff, and you've gotten on calls with us twice now, so you obviously like the stuff and think that it can work for you, I would just say stick and pick and try it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're big like DQ energy, like get out of here, sell yourself. So that's the biggest takeaway from the first 16 minutes that I've seen,
Um,
which is fine. That's why we're doing the call review.
Commitment scary.
I mean, I already see the vision of it. This is
Yep.
maybe a little bit, but
Cool thing is this guy's bought in enough to not like blow you off and be like, get out of my face, which is great.
Yeah.
I want to.
That should give you hope that if you can get better in your conversations, you're going to be closing these guys left and right.
Oh, dude, I mean, like, even like you and I have talked about it privately, but it's like, you know, I'm not where I need to be at all in terms of getting up to par, and I'm still #1 collected, #1 contracted. And so it's like,
Yeah.
if, you know, I just make some small tweaks, it's like, this is going to the moon, and I just need to be just making improvements, which hopefully I have at least a little bit. And so just keep moving in that direction and I'll be fine.
100%, dude. That should go to show you like you're at a 2 out of 10 of your potential, which is
Yeah.
very exciting. Very, very exciting. All right, everybody. That's pretty much the hour. Does anyone have a takeaway from the call review? What did you learn? JC?
I was gonna text you this after. I just didn't want to interrupt, but something that caught me is, you know, how you were saying when people are saying, "Oh, I got to talk to my parents," and you said, "Oh, would you want to go to McDonald's? You know, if you want to lose weight, would you go to McDonald's, or do your parents own a business?" How are you wording that so it doesn't come across of me just saying, "Well, your parents don't make as much money. What do you do? What are they?"
Opening question, what do your parents do for work?
Yeah,
You just ask more questions. Oh, they work this job and then that job. Have they ever ran a business?
got it.
No. Okay. Are you cool if I challenge you on that? Or would you be open to looking at it differently if it served you?
Yeah,
Right? Like the better you can get at asking those types of questions, because then I just reframe. Like,
okay.
hey, dude, I used to weigh 300 pounds. Like, I would have failed miserably at losing weight if I walked up to a bunch of fat guys and asked them how to get a six pack.
Yeah, I'm adding it to my my objection area on my script. So
It's good, bro. This is a good call. I feel like we covered a lot of ground. I'll be posting this on YouTube for all the free people who can just scour it and take notes. But I'm thankful for you guys. It was a good turnout. I appreciate you all having your cameras on and taking notes. Zach. But I'll see you guys. I'm not going to be on tomorrow. I've got a call with Ty Lopez, and if I can get the link, it's like his community. So you guys can jump on that. I'm going to do a training if they give me the link for it. But other than that, I hope you guys have an amazing day today. Close your calls. And I'll see you guys on Thursday.
Peace,
See you guys.
Christian. Thanks.
Good luck, everybody. Later, y'all.